Forbeck was supposed to be here with us today. I don't want to scare her again like I did last time.
You weren't scaring me this time. I knew you were coming, so here I am. Didn't mean to scare you. Well, yes, I did. Remember last week you scared me to death.
Too.
I thought somebody was in my house. So I'm really sorry about that. Sorry. So how was your week, everybody?
Good. How's your week?
It was all right.
Good. So now I think we're all here and we have the fourth graders with us too. Is that right?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, good. So I don't need to magically make them appear this week.
Nope.
Okay, good.
Were you guys all able to set up a writing space?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Did you find something you wanted to write about on the writing calendar this week?
You know, I did. I found a prompt I really liked on Wednesday about family traditions. And in fact, I liked that prompt so much, I didn't know what to write about because I had so many ideas. So sometimes when I have a prompt that I have too many ideas about, or sometimes when somebody gives me a prompt I have no ideas about, I try some things like making a list. So I made a list of my favorite family traditions, and then I got to one about Black Friday shopping at this outlet mall in Michigan City that we go to, and I thought that would make a great thing to write about. So I'm going to be writing about that. Sometimes I do a quick write, and so I wanted to write about that idea about making people's shoes disappear. So I started with somebody who could steal shoes if they wanted them, and that seemed kind of wrong. And then I thought about, well, what if somebody could steal shoes if they got angry at somebody? And that made me think about, well, what if somebody was like a superhero who could steal the shoes of people who were being mean? And then when they took their shoes, that would make them stop being mean because they'd be confused about where their shoes went, and they would stop being mean. So I'm going to write about the super shoe snatcher who works to bring kindness to the world by stealing mean people's shoes. And then my last thing I did was writing about a special family member. So I drew a sketch of my sister here, and I put in some little things about things that her body parts kind of reminded me about, her jewelry, her shoes. And then I thought, oh, she plans really great trips for us. So I wanted to write about some of the trips I've taken with my sister, the Great Trip Planner.
That sounds like a great story. Don't let Mrs. Parsons see your stick person.
I know, don't tell her. But did anybody else have anything they do to generate ideas if they're stuck with a prompt and have too many ideas or not enough?
Yeah, I do. I use something called a heart map. Sometimes there's a topic I love so much that I feel like I'm almost overwhelmed with ideas. So the topic we had last week, the prompt that was family stories, I have a ton of great stories about my little brother, Mark. He's quite the character in our family. And so I did a heart map about stories about my little brother, like the time that his his wallet was dropped right by the waterfall. And then another time he spilled his entire chocolate milkshake in Dad's new car. So a heart map can be a way for me to get started and think about different stories I can write about one topic.
Mrs. Rowland, I loved how you put things that you loved in that heart map, and you drew pictures, because I think I might try that next week.
Thank you. It's really helpful for me to draw pictures along with my writing. But you know what else is helpful is just having this chance to show you guys this and talk about my ideas. I notice that when I talk about my writing, I'm able to think more deeply about it. And so I would think it'd be a great thing for fourth graders to think about finding mom or dad or brother, sister, aunt, uncle, a good friend, anybody that they could share their writing with, whether it's their ideas or a whole story, because talking is really going to make you a better writer.
Can I mention something about that?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I think, we share a lot at school when we do writing, but with this way that we're living now and kind of staying in our houses to be safe, we don't always have those people to share that with. And sharing, you're right, Mrs. Rowland, sharing is so important. Do you know grandparents love phone calls and they would love to listen to stories? So you could share with anybody in your household. you could call anybody. And I know especially that kids right now, some are doing FaceTime with each other because they can't see each other. They're doing their own Zooms. You could share some of your writing then, fourth graders. But I wanted to add something. When you share your writing and you feel so good about it and you're trusting whoever you're telling, you need to think about being a good listener, because if you're talking to your friends and sharing your writing, that's a trust thing. And you need to know if they're going to share with you in return how to be a good listener. So this might be difficult for some of you, but if somebody's sharing their writing with you, you need to be all in. You need to, if you're on the computer or if they're in the house with you, you should eye contact, and you don't want to be distracted. No playing on the tablet while somebody's sharing a story with you or they're writing with you. And then as a good listener, and you're all in and you're focused on what they're reading to you, you're not judging their writing. Maybe they're reading an opinion paper to you and you totally disagree with that opinion. That's okay, but it's not the time to judge. You can always find something good about somebody's writing. Or maybe you love to read stories about, or hear stories about nonfiction and animals. And your friend or whoever that's sharing with you is writing science fiction and you hate science fiction. You still can be an engaged listener. And when they're finished, there is something good you can tell them about their writing. You may not have enjoyed it. You may not have agreed with it. But for example, if they wrote an opinion paper about how great Brussels sprouts are, you don't have to say, oh, I hate Brussels sprouts. Instead, you would say, wow, you have some really good facts, nutritional facts about Brussels sprouts. That was good. You put that in there. So it's important to give them compliments and ask questions when they're done. If you ask questions, it shows you were listening. Do you guys agree with that? Do you think that those things are important?
Absolutely.
You know, it would be great if we could practice that. If we could listen to a story and practice listening to it. Should we have somebody come in?
How would
Can
you do that?
I have my McGonagall magic wand.
All right.
Let's pick on somebody we think would have done their writing assignment this week. We won't. How about Mr. Hengsbaugh? What do you think?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I am going to magically call him in. I don't know what he's been doing, but we know he's not at a restaurant. Abracadabra, bring us Mr. Hengsbaugh. We want to hear his story. A la peanut butter sandwiches. 1, 2, 3.
What the heck? Hey, I was in my basement playing school. Where am I now?
You're with us.
You're in the writing meeting.
We're talking to fourth graders, Colton, about stories.
Oh, that's actually really cool because I set up a writing journal, kind of like what you guys did last week.
Hey, did you do your writing assignment, Mr. Hengsbaugh?
I did.
you?
I actually looked at that calendar that you guys sent out about all the different writing prompts, and I found one that was really cool. So I decided to write about it.
Would you feel safe enough to read it to us?
Sure. If you guys want to listen.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So it was late at night and my stomach started to rumble. Did I not eat enough for dinner? Or was all of my energy drained from all of the tennis that I played that afternoon? Whatever the reason, I needed a late night snack. I walked downstairs and opened the pantry. It was then that I heard a noise outside. I peeked out my window and there they were. 3 deer had somehow found their way into my neighborhood and ended up in my backyard. I was shocked. I've never seen a deer in my backyard before. I wanted to catch a picture of them so I could prove this to my friends. I reached for my phone, knowing that I had to act quickly. As I pushed the button to snap the picture, a bright flash escaped my phone. At that moment, the deer scattered and ran in different directions. I guess I won't be able to prove this to my friends, but at least I'll always know the truth. The end.
Yay.
Love it.
Mr. Hengsbaugh, I have a connection.
Oh, yeah?
This is what we do in my class if you have a connection. I saw a deer in my yard once.
Oh, really?
But you know what I really liked about your writing? You didn't just say, I was at home, man, and I saw some deer. It was cool. You didn't say that. You for me, you set a scene. You were hungry, your tummy rumbled, you were going to the kitchen to get something to eat. I liked how you set the scene and then told us how you saw the deer rather than saying, yeah, I was hungry and I saw some deer, man.
I tried to add lots of details in my writing.
I liked it.
I agree with Mrs. Forbeck, and I would like to add that your writing really helped to pull me into the moment. I felt like I was right there with you, and that surprise of looking out the window and seeing the deer was a really cool moment in your piece. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question for you because you mentioned that you're in your neighborhood. Is your neighborhood out in the country or do you live like in the town? How many?
I live in town. So that's why I was so surprised to see deer in my backyard. I've never seen that before. With all the houses around, I figured they'd be out in fields, but they found their way into my neighborhood.
That's awesome. My favorite part was when you went to get the phone out and provide evidence for your friends, and the phone went off and off went the deer and you lost your evidence. I really like the way you described that. That's pretty cool.
Thanks.
Well, guys, I struggled a little bit this week with the ideas that were on the calendar, and I was having a hard time picking one to write about. So I decided to try something new to generate some of my own ideas. So I just grabbed my journal that I set up, and I wrote "what if" at the top. And then I just took about 5 minutes and I brainstormed as many what ifs as I could. And then I picked one that I wanted to write about. And I think I decided I was going to write about what if I were invisible?
Ooh, that sounds good.
Mhm.
What were some of your other what ifs?
I had, what if I could fly? What if I found $1 million?
Woo.
Ooh, what if my dog had Zoom meetings? And what if there were really pots of gold at the end of rainbows?
Great ideas.
So those were kind of fun. I also had this one. What if we had to go to school without going to school?
Okay, I don't know if that would be fantasy or realistic fiction.
Yeah.
Those are great ideas. I love how you were creative. If the idea that was on the calendar didn't inspire you, you just came up with your own ideas. And I want our fourth graders to know that you have that freedom, fourth graders. You can write about whatever inspires you during your daily writing time.
And try out the what if strategy. See if it works for you.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So this week we would like you to continue to write every day that you can in your whatever writing journal you have come up with. We'd like you to try at least 2 different ways to help generate ideas if you get stuck. You might make a heart map or a list or try that what if strategy. Also, please be sure to share your writing with someone. Over the next few weeks, your teacher's also going to let you know some ways that you can share your writing with your class. So we'll be looking forward to that as well.
All right, so are we done? Can I make each of you disappear out of this meeting?
What? No.
Can you?
Goodbye, Miss Van Norman. Goodbye, Mr. Hengsbaugh. Goodbye, Mrs. Rowland. Goodbye, Mrs. Kelly. I'm stuck here by myself. Goodbye, Mrs. Forbeck.